Prophecy Watch, May 16th, 2008, Signs of the Time. Well, this is turning out to be an interesting week. On May 11th, on Sunday, I received a message from the Holy Spirit as I was reading through Ezekiel indicating that there's going to be no more delay. Now, I don't know what God means by that, but he said no more delay. On the next day, May 12th, we see this huge earthquake striking China. We're continuing to see the ravages of that. We're also watching the results of the cyclone in Myanmar. We're watching earthquakes and famines and cyclones. And, we just have to wonder, what will it take to get the people of the world to wake up to the signs of the time? We need to be reading the Bible, folks, and realizing where we are. Let's take another look at what Christ said about the end of the age and the signs that would indicate its beginning. First, he said you will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but he said the end is still to come. In other words, when you hear of wars and rumors of wars, that is not the sign of the end. Then he said, nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. He said, all these are the beginning of birth pains. All these are the beginning of the end. All these are signs that indicate that the end has started. So we need to look carefully at what did he mean by nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, famines and earthquakes. If we look at the Greek words, we see a much clearer picture of what these beginning signs of the end actually are. So what did Christ mean when he said that these signs, all these signs, would indicate the beginning of the end or the beginning of the birth pains? Well, first of all, the wars, they're ethnic wars and they're national wars. National wars are where you have a king or a ruler, and ethnic are tribal. Well, we see those today. There's famines and pandemics and pestilences going on in the world. We're seeing those today. We're also seeing this week particularly, we're seeing earthquakes, cyclones, and we're tornadoes, and of course hurricanes. Now, the word in the Greek for what Christ was talking about is seismos, but that means a shaking of the earth, of the air, of the water. It's seismos. It means more than just earthquakes. So earthquakes, hurricanes, cyclones, and tornadoes. Now, if you've been watching any of my videos about the signs of the times and Prophecy Watch, you're going to already know that I believe that we entered into the time of the end probably somewhere around 2001, maybe even specifically 2001. But here's what's been going on in terms of seismos, or seismic activity, or hurricanes and cyclones, where they've killed more than 1,000 people. Now, that's not the only measure that, we should take into consideration. But you can see, in the last 7 years, we've had some very huge earthquakes and hurricanes and cyclones killing many people and leading to devastation that kills even more people. These are huge signs, and they're all clustered around this period, and we see all these things. We no longer just hear of them. So when Christ was asked about the signs of his coming in the end of the age, he said, when you hear, he said, the end is still to come. In other words, it's not yet. And then he said, when you see all these things, ethnic and national wars, famines and pandemics, earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, cyclones, and tornadoes, all of these mark the beginning of the end. And we should expect that all of these will continue through the birth pains, and there will be other birth pains, but these all mark birth pains. Now, it's interesting to consider the wording that Christ used. He said, when you see all these things, he said, this generation wouldn't pass. Well, this may be the first generation that's had such visual opportunity to see earthquakes, wars, national wars, civil wars, hurricanes, famines, pandemics, pestilences, tornadoes. This week we've seen more tornadoes in the Midwest than ever before. We see it all. Now, I keep saying in virtually all my videos that, folks, we need to be reading the Bible. We need to be reading Bible prophecies, because God says he has told us everything that will happen ahead of time. I can't believe that anybody would be reading their Bible today and not be making the connection that we are likely, most certainly, in the time of the end. We've entered into it already. The birth pains are continuing. They're going to get worse. We have years to go, but no time to lose.